Hi guys, my name is Isra and today I'm going to share with you the etiquettes to know before going to Japan. Number one is removing your shoes when you go into an indoor place, whether it be a home, into a school, into maybe your workplace. It's very important to remove the shoes. And if you go in your shoes inside a place, it's not going to look good. They're going to really frown down upon that. When you go into a Japanese home, there's a designated place called genkin, where you take your shoes off and you'll notice that the ground is a bit lower. When I worked at Japanese schools, they always had a place where you remove your shoes and wear some slippers, or you bring your own indoor shoes. And this I found to be very beautiful to keep the school clean. And you'll see this repeating pattern, important thing about cleanliness in Japan, to keep everything clean, whether it be at the hot springs, whether it be when you're on the train. It's a very important concept for them. And this is something ingrained within them from a very young age, where they teach them how to clean their own school. And that's why when you go into a school, it's so clean. And that is something that they keep with them even when they live on their own. So number two, hot springs. When going into a hot spring, you have to take a shower. You need to wash yourself, clean yourself before getting into the hot water. And again, that theme of cleanliness is present. When I first did this, it was, I think, 3 weeks into being present in Japan. It was my birthday on August 23rd, and I decided, okay, let me do something new. I'm not comfortable taking all my clothes off in front of other people, but and this was with one of my friends. I decided, you know what, let's try something new, and I did it. And it was such a freeing feeling, and realizing what beliefs that I was carrying that were really restricting me. I know some people it's very weird for them or strange for them. It's like, I don't know about this. This is how it's done, and you have to remove all of your clothes before going into a hot spring, shower, and then get into the hot water. Number three, it's a big no-no to be walking and eating, or if you're on the bus or on the train, to be eating. And the exception to that rule is if you're on the Shinkansen, on the bullet train, which can be a longer ride. It could be 1 or 2 or 5 hours, and that's where you are allowed to eat. And it's actually culturally permissible to do that. And you'll notice that there are trays where you can take out and eat. But any other place, any other train, it's frowned down upon. It just does not look good if you're walking and eating, and you'll get a sense like people do not welcome that. The best thing you can do, if you're in a market and you'd like to eat, is to stand and eat. So you'll notice that level of respect to food, to others, and that awareness, and to be aware of other people is a very important thing in Japan. And it is a collectivistic society, and so for people coming from an individualistic society where it's the self over the other, this can seem very different, and it's hard to wrap your mind around. But eventually it's important to start shifting that mindset if you are staying in Japan for a lengthy period of time. They have a saying that if you are the nail that sticks out, it gets hammered down. You'll notice those Japanese people who do try to not conform, they are shunned. They are, in a way, treated like ghosts. And that's something I witnessed, and I didn't like seeing it at all. Number four, when you're using your chopsticks, to not be pointing at people with your chopsticks, or to place your chopsticks vertically in a bowl of rice, because that is connected to funerals. So immediately Japanese people will think of funerals. They will think of you offering this food to ancestors. So you don't want to do that. That's really disrespectful, and that's something that you really don't want to be portraying about yourself. You don't want to be one of those foreigners that does that. Number five, when you receive money, when you receive a business card, to receive it with both of your hands. It's considered to be disrespectful if you do take a business card with one hand. And that's one thing they emphasized in the orientation when I got to Japan through the JET program, to take the cards with both hands and to show some interest, not to just immediately put it in your pocket, put it in your bag, to actually look at it and show interest out of respect for the others. So again, that concept of how you are perceived by other people is very, very, very important in Japan. Now, for a mistake that I did in Japan, it's a mistake, but not a mistake. And I'm glad that I did it because I got to know another side about Japan that I don't think I would have known if I didn't make this so-called mistake. And that is getting a piercing. And in Japan, that is considered to be illegal to get a piercing at a piercing place. If you want to get a piercing, you go to the hospital. Interestingly enough, very different concept. No one told me about this. So here's what happened. I lived on the borders of Hiroshima, Iwakuni, Yamaguchi, and I was going to Hiroshima many times, and I decided I was going through like such a big shift in my life. I let go of wearing the hijab. I was following a religion for more than 14 years and decided to let it go at that time. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna get a belly piercing. So I went to Hiroshima, and then I went to different like information desks in like malls and different maybe places to ask, where can I get a piercing? Yeah, that was interesting because the response that I would get was they were uncomfortable when I asked them the question. And there would be this sort of like, we don't understand what you're talking about kind of response. So I kept on asking, and then I was like, maybe I'm asking the wrong question. Maybe I was speaking in Japanese. I really felt called to this certain restaurant, and it was like, it looked quite modern looking, like different from like the mainstream kind of izakaya and all that. And so I see a girl who's similar age as me, and I ask her this question. And then she gets close to me and she says, you shouldn't be asking those questions. Like indirectly, that's what she was saying. But she's like, I know somewhere actually, and I will take you there. She took me there. It was like a cover-up shop where they were selling statues, piercings, and incense. Very like metaphysical kind of store with statues. The man that I met there, he looked like a samurai. Long hair and a long like beard. So yeah, he looked pretty cool. Like I was amazed. And he made sure no one was looking, and he took me upstairs to his hidden piercing shop. And I thought that was so cool. He had like posters of like, you know, those kind of trippy mushrooms, psilocybin mushroom kind of posters. He had them around, and I loved it. It looked like a scene out of a movie where I was at. And for some reason, it took him like an hour to do the belly piercing. He was taking his time to make sure that I was comfortable doing this. And it felt like I was being initiated into something. Like I felt like this samurai was teaching me how to accept pain and not to resist it, to surrender to the pain. So I loved this whole experience. 1 hour of deep conversations and understanding how people conform to certain things that they shouldn't be. So it was a really beautiful interaction that we had, and I went back again and got another piercing, I think 2 or 1 on my earlobe here. I'm so glad that I did that. What etiquettes are present in Japan that you know of that are not present in the Western society? I would like for you to comment down below, like this video, and subscribe to my channel. That would mean so much to me, and I look forward to seeing you very, very soon.